time, the indefinite continued progress of existence, and events in the past, present, and future regarded as a whole. It is a measure constructed by man to keep the mind in a prison. Since birth, we've all been contending a race that no one will ever win. The constant struggle of the everyday hustle and bustle just to punch another man's clock. Priceless seconds ticking away till one day you wake up and you're old. There's a ninth dimension beyond that which is known to man. It is a parallel as vast as space and as timeless as infinity. It serves as a meeting point between light and darkness, between science and superstition, religion and politics, and it lies between the pit of man's fear and the summit of his knowledge. For the remainder of this episode, we will journey to the unknown, one time for your mind.
Good evening. Welcome back to another episode of One Time for Your Mind. I'm your host, T. Tate, and today's topic is going to be about abuse. So let's just jump right into it. First, I want to hit you guys with the definition of abuse, because sometimes I think we throw that word around a little bit too loosely, and that's what gets people caught up, and that's how you end up in jail. So let's talk about it. All right, so abuse has three definitions. One is to use something to a bad effect or for a bad purpose or to misuse. The second definition says is to treat, then there's in parentheses, a person or an animal with cruelty or violence, especially regularly or repeatedly. And then the third one says cruel and violent treatment of a person and or animal. Okay, so in the U.S., thousands of people are being subjected to abuse on a daily basis. And specifically enough, we're going to talk about abuse, physical abuse within a relationship. So sometimes people think, oh, I have to take it because I'm in this relationship and this is what comes with it. And abuse, again, comes in many forms. So they could be verbally being abused. They could be emotionally being abused. You could be physically being abused, mentally, financially. I learned something recently. There's something called actually financial abuse. And that's where somebody uses finances as a way of getting you to do whatever it is they want you to do, or to misuse the things that you would do for them based off how much money they are allotting to you or dangling in front of you, so forth and so on. So near and dear to my heart, physical abuse. Okay, nobody should have to live in fear. I know so many women personally, and let me start over, because men get abused as well, but I'm going to speak from a female perspective because that's what I can relate to the most. Men, please don't be offended. I am not overlooking the fact that you guys get abused, but I'm only speaking from where I know. Okay, so I know several women personally who have been in abusive relationships over the years. Not myself personally. I've never been in an abusive relationship. And I always used to ask myself in the beginning, why does she stay? Why are you still with this person? They are physically harming you. You are afraid. If they lift their arms up, even if they lift their arms to wave, I watch women flinch, shy away from other people because they have been subjected to a lot of physical harm by the hands of somebody who quote unquote loves them. Okay, so first I want to tell you, if you are in an abusive situation, it is not the end of the world. You can't get out. There are abuse hotlines that you guys can call and reach out to, or tell a friend, family member, somebody else. Let somebody know what you are experiencing before it gets out of hand. Once somebody puts their hands on you, to me, it's out of hand. But to some, until you get a black eye, until you get a broken bone, it's not out of hand. But whatever the case may be for you and yours, there are a lot of avenues out here for you guys to get help. There's a lot of outreach programs that helps battered women, battered people in general, battered children, so forth and so on. So I want you guys to first seek help. But while we're looking at the psyche of a person who is in an abusive relationship, at some point they develop something called a sense of helplessness. Like they need that person. They become codependent on the person who is their tormentor. And when they develop that, it's like a sick trade-off. It's like, oh, he blacked my eye because he loved me. And if I would have just done this, then this would have happened. Or had I not spoke to him harshly and he had a bad day, then he would have been more likely not in a mood to want to put his hands on me. And that scenario sounds weird to me personally because, again, like I said, I've never been in an abusive relationship, so I can't understand how somebody striking me could make me feel like in any way that is love. Love does not hurt. Passion hurts. Love doesn't hurt. So when somebody is doing something to you in a form of harm, that's passion. That's not love. Love protects. Love guides. Love is unconditional. It is not something that brings about fear. Passion makes you fear somebody. Your emotion outburst, that makes you fear somebody. That makes somebody put their hands on you. That makes somebody do something to you that you don't like. So in order for it to be abuse, here's some of the things that you need to ask yourself. If your kid came to you and told you that their significant other was doing the things to you that you're having done to you, would you say stay, work it out, or would you expect your child to leave because you don't want them to be in harm's way? If at any point in their conversation they tell you these are the things that's happening to them and you say, baby, you need to leave, then you need to take your own advice. You should be leaving because we lead by example. Our kids see what we do. Okay, so if at any point in your situation you feel like I don't want my kid to see me like this, you're probably in a state of abuse and you probably should work towards getting some help. When I see people who are abusers, one of the things that I've noticed a lot is people say, oh, well, the person that is being the abuser does not know how to control themselves. But actually what's happening is they don't know how to get somebody else to be under their control. It's not that they don't know how to control themselves. They are in control of themselves. That's why they are hitting you. That's why they have the upper hand. That's why they are trying to instill fear in you, because they are in control of themselves, but they want to be in control of you, and they don't know how to get you to follow along without the use of some form of violence or fear. So when you notice that you are dealing with a person who can't lead or can't get people to follow them without use of fear, that's a piss poor leader, and that person does not deserve the title of head of your house, your significant other, head of your life, whatever you call them. They don't deserve that title because they're weak. Weak people govern people by fear. And the funny thing about fear, it only lasts so long. At some point, you get into a state where you feel like, I don't have anything else to lose. At which point, they're going to lash out on the oppressor. Right? Now, does every woman make it to that stage? No, absolutely not. There are a lot of people who, once they get inside your head and convince you that you can't do any better, nobody's going to treat you better than they are treating you, nobody's ever going to love you, you are this type of person, whatever, and they get into your head mentally, physically, you're going to bow to whatever it is that they say. Now, just going off the makeup of people, men are naturally stronger than women. And understand when I say that, I don't mean that there are not women out here who are stronger than some men, because clearly there is women out here that are stronger than some men. But just your natural makeup, a woman is naturally weaker than a man, strength-wise. So it does not really take a whole lot for you to overpower a female. But if all you know is violence, when you were a kid, you were subjected to violence. That's how your parents got you to mind. That's how your father got you to do whatever it is that he wanted you to do. They beat you, so to speak. Then that's what you know to do to run your own household. And when you find yourself in the presence of somebody who does not know how to run a household except through fear, you are in danger. It never ends how you think it's going to end. It's never enough. Whatever it is that you're doing is never going to be enough to get yourself out of the grasp of somebody who feels the power of manipulating you through physical harm. And when I say they are manipulating you, because at the point where you are fearing for your life, you're willing to do whatever it is that they're asking you to do. And now at that point, that person is content with the action because the results brought forth what they wanted in the first place. They wanted you to follow. Now you are following, but you're following out of fear. If you find yourself in a situation where you feel helpless, whether it be from physical abuse or mental or emotional abuse, then you need to get out of the situation. I can't stress that enough. And the reason I stress people getting out of situations like that, because it never ends well. I know people who, the day that they decided they were going to leave the person, were shot down in their yard. They never made it officially out or away from the person. They could never get away from the clutches of the person that was causing them all of this harm. And then when they finally did get up enough strength, the person felt like, I'm going to have you by any means. And then they shot and killed a lady that I know. Another lady that I knew was stabbed to death as a result of her finding her own mind and her freedom and her strength to get out of a situation. So when you find yourself living in a constant state of fear, you're at a disadvantage, you are losing, and it's not worth your life. And that's what you need to think about. You need to be thinking, is this person or me at that point? Okay? And oftentimes, if you go by a group of people or a couple and they are arguing and a fight is going on, first instinct, you want to protect the other person. You want to go protect the person that's being abused. And then you find yourself in a situation where you defend the person that's being abused, and then they jump on you for harming the person who is abusing them. So then we decide, what? I'm going to mind my own business. And you walk past a situation like this and nobody's helping. And then once somebody walks past a situation like that, or you are aware of a situation, yet you don't go and try to help the situation get better, the person falls deeper into a mind frame of helplessness, and they feel like, what's the use? Nobody's going to come to my rescue. Nobody's going to help me. Nobody can save me from the situation that I'm in, and as a result, you're stuck there. So if you find yourself in a situation where you don't like what somebody is doing, the first thing you need to do is verbalize it to the person. Okay? because they don't know that you don't like it if you don't say you don't like it. Some things we would like to think is common sense, but there are some people out here who do get kicks out of being beat on. So you can't assume because somebody is being choked, hit, punched, whatever, bullied into doing whatever, that they don't necessarily like it. I personally would not like it, but there are people out here who do like it. So when you find yourself in a situation where that's something that you don't like, first thing you got to do is verbalize that. You got to say, hey, when you do this, it makes me feel like this and I don't like it. Could you please stop doing this? At which time now the ball is no longer in your court. It is in the court of your quote unquote abuser. And if that person continues to do those things of which you have stated you do not like, now you are being abused, because now you are being misused. By definition, you at that point are being abused. Okay? Abuse is not when somebody's just doing something to you. Abuse is when you've made it clear that you do not like something and then they continue to do it. Now you are being abused. So I want you to just keep that in mind, because there are a lot of laws that protect people from abuse, but there is a lot of gray area in those laws that could allow the person to get out of it. They could say something like, how do we know you didn't like it? If you got hit in the face 10 times before, why didn't you call the police any of those 10 times? Why is there no record of the abuse? And then when you have nothing in return to say, then sometimes the lawyer, if it's a good enough lawyer, they're going to go, oh, well, my client thought she liked it. That was something that they were into and they were both engaging in it. And then they're going to be out. So I need you to first verbalize how you feel. Don't forget that you have a voice. You do have a voice. You have a say-so in your life and how your life is going. Then secondly, I need you to reflect. If a kid or somebody that you love came to you and told you that this was happening to them, would you suggest that they stay or would you suggest that they leave? If at any point you suggest that they leave, then the situation that you are in, you probably should not be in either. So I want you to be mindful of those two things when you think about abuse. I also want you to know nobody has to live in fear of another human being. Learn self-defense. First, get some confidence about yourself, develop your self-esteem, and then get some self-defense. And on top of that, if you're of age, purchase a firearm. Take a class on it. Get acclimated with being able to do the measures that our country has afforded us as a means of protecting yourself from situations such as this. So there are things that you can do to get yourself out of those situations. There are places that can help you get out of those situations and give you somewhere to live and help you start over. Protect yourself at all costs. The very laws of nature say self-preservation is rule number 1. So please remember that when you are living in these type of situations. Don't allow your nightmares to be your everyday life. There is hope. All you got to do is open your mouth. Well, I don't want to bombard you guys with too much information on the subject. Please feel free to drop comments below. Let us know how you feel about it. If you know somebody that's in one of those situations, please try to help, encourage them to get help if they can. If they can't, help them get a pistol. That's just my friendly advice. I'm not telling you to do it for real. Just putting it out there, okay? There is a domestic violence and intimate partner violence hotline that you guys can call in the event that you need some help or you just need somebody to talk to. The hotline number is 1-800-799-7233. Again, that number is 1-800-799-7233. It's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week via the phone and online chat. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for listening. I'm T Tate with another episode of One Time for Your Mind.
One time for your mind, one time. One time. One time for your mind, one time. One time. Break free of the box, then keep your thoughts confined. Concentrate to hear the message through the rhymes. One time for your minds. Pry your eyelids open. Don't ignore the signs. Late take chime in with his peace of mind. Message spreads to all, to but weather times. One time for your mind, one time. One time. One time for your mind, one time. One time. Break free of the box and keep your thoughts confined. Concentrate and hear the message through these rhymes. One time Pray your eyelids open. Don't ignore the signs. Let Tate chime in with his peace of mind. Spread this message to all. To beware the times.
One time for your mind, one time.
One time.
One time for your mind, one time.
One time.
Break free of the box that keeps your thoughts confined. Concentrate to hear the message through